Hi, this is Annette and Scott, and this July we will celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary. Before we talk about where our dancing is today, it might help you understand how significant the journey has been if you know where we came from. As a kid, I grew up playing any and every sport there was. I competed in swimming, track and field, I played football, rode horses, and raced motorcycles and BMX. In college, I was a conference champion and an All-American in hurdles. An overall avid sportsman, all of which led me to bobsledding. I went to 2 Olympics as a bobsledder. Now I love working with power tools and big machines. The more power, the better. I also enjoy hunting, making guns, and other types of woodwork. Did you hear me mention dancing anywhere?
Speaking of dancing, I grew up dancing in some form or fashion throughout my entire childhood. And I took ballet and jazz and tap in kindergarten, and when I was 8 years old, I was on the drill team and then became a twirler. I was on the high school drill team and was also a cheerleader and danced on the dance team in college. And in college, I even danced every year in the 25-hour nonstop dance-a-thon for charity. And I continue to dance for charity at the Junior League of Houston Charity Ball every year. And then Scott and I met, and we got married. Yay! And I jumped right into Scott's world, and he introduced hunting and guns to me, and we bought a ranch, and we had lots of stories from that. And we did many outdoor activities and have so many adventures that we shared together. But something wasn't complete for me. Now, I assumed that Scott had a common macho male affliction called the I am too cool to dance syndrome. We would go to weddings, galas, nightclubs, or whatever where there's dancing, and he wouldn't dance with me. Or he needed liquid encouragement in order to get out on the dance floor. I was so bummed.
The thing is, though, it's not that I didn't want to dance with Annette. Like most guys, I just didn't know how and didn't want to get out on the dance floor and look stupid in front of her and the rest of the world. But I wanted her to dance, so I encouraged her to go to Astaire. And she loved it. And I loved watching her dance, but I thought, I could do that. And the rest is history. So here's what we learned from dancing together. We learned that dancing is the best marriage bonding in the world.
Indeed. We absolutely improved our communication and used incredible patience and understanding with each other. And talk about teamwork. Trust is super important. After all, he could drop me on my head at any time. We worked with each other's strengths and overcame our weaknesses together. We were unselfish, but we made sure our own needs were met too. And we've had a blast. So our first dance together was at Rhythm of the Night. The song meant a lot to us personally, and we worked a lot in the studio with Ben and Cheryl and many hours on our own in the backyard on it. That event was held that year at the Wortham, which was the biggest stage I had ever been on.
I picked that song because it was me speaking to Annette. Rhythm of the Night was finally here. I was back in my element. I had so much nervous energy I could hardly sit still. Being with Annette kept me calm. We were in this thing together and we were not going to let each other down. We warmed up backstage to help us stay calm. 2 dances before we went on, we were stretching quietly, not even talking. Just alone in our thoughts, but we were together. 1 dance before we went on, we were standing on the side of the stage holding hands. The number before us ended. This was it. We kissed each other, said I love you, and ran out into the abyss. The lights came up, the music began, and so did we. Muscle memory took over. Our first lift, oops. But we recovered and the rest went out without a hitch. And the crowd went wild, so I was told.
Final pose. The stage went dark, and we ran off the stage, and Ben and Cheryl were there to greet us with hugs, like our dance parents or something. After that mini celebration, Scott and I hugged and laughed and cried together backstage for what seemed like an hour. We did it, and Scott did it. It was such a special moment that we will never forget. We still talk about that, and it's been over 3 years. I was so proud of Scott's courage, not to mention his skill, and so grateful that he cared enough to try. Accomplishing this together has brought us even closer, and now Scott was in my world as much as I had been in his world. So now, my macho man performs with me at Charity Ball. And whenever we go to weddings or galas or whatever, Scott is the first one on the dance floor with me. And wives who are standing on the sidelines are saying to their husbands, "Why can't you be more like him?" Thank you, Fred Astaire.
Stepping out with my baby, can't go wrong 'cause I'm in right.